Okay, so you need to do some maintenance on your site, and you think to yourself, I need to put the site in maintenance mode. So what do? It's WordPress, right? Let's install a plugin. So we have 1,000 options. We'll just pick one, get started. And then you have a setup wizard, you have to make an account, and then you have this plugin sitting on your site. We don't want that. So let's get rid of this thing, and let's use WPCodeBox to do it right with a simple code snippet to put our site in maintenance mode that's fully customizable, ready to go, and super lightweight. This is Joe from WPCodeBox. Let's get coding. So to get started, we'll go down here to WPCodeBox. We'll make a new snippet, and we're going to call it maintenance. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add action. This is a WordPress filter, and it lets us inject code into WordPress when something is happening. So now we need to tell add action where we want to inject our code, and we're going to choose template redirect. And this fires before determining which template to load on the front end. And you can see I have this built into WPCodeBox. It tells me exactly what the code does. It makes things really easy to use. So we'll just hit enter to autocomplete, and then we're going to use an anonymous function. And an anonymous function just lets us use code that's not reusable. We're not going to use it again. We're just going to put some code down here underneath our filter that runs when this filter fires. So we're going to open this up. We're going to put an if statement. So if current user can manage options. So manage options is a capability that lets you add plugins to the site, change site settings and things like that. It's generally something that makes you an administrator. And we want this code to run for everybody that is not an administrator. So we're going to put an exclamation point right here. So if current user cannot manage options, and we'll use isAdmin right here. So isAdmin is a function and it returns true if we're on an admin page, like the WP admin panel or the login page or something like that. So this whole if statement means if we're not an administrator and we're not on an admin page, we're going to run the following code. And this is where we're going to put our maintenance mode. Okay. So now let's run some code that runs for non-administrators when they're not on an admin page. Now we're going to pass in a status header. So if your site happens to get crawled by somebody like Google or something like that, we're just going to tell them we're temporarily down for maintenance. That's what 503 means. And now let's add some really simple HTML that will display for the users when they visit our site. We're going to close out our PHP tag here. So the PHP starts up here and then we're going to close it. So now we're just going to basically output text into the browser. We're going to keep things really simple. You can get as complicated as you want, but for me, I'm just going to use an H1 and I'm going to say the site is currently in maintenance mode. Check back soon. We'll close that out. And now let's open up our PHP tag again so we can tell WordPress to exit. So the way this code is right now, if the current user cannot manage options and they're not on an admin page, we're going to pass in the status header of 503 and display our HTML that says we are in maintenance mode. But let's make it look just a little bit better because as of right now, this text is just going to be an H1, Times New Roman, top left side. So let's just give it a little bit of styling here just to make it look halfway decent. We're going to do that with some inline style. Very simple. So inside our H1 tag, we're going to say style equals, and then we have some quotes and font family. We'll just use system UI. So that's just uses the font for whatever the operating system the person is on. Nice and easy. And text align center. Get the text in the center. And finally, give it a little bit of margin on the top, about 100 pixels, just to get the text off the top of the browser. Okay, so that's it. That's our snippet. Let's save this. Enable the snippet. And let me open an incognito window so I'm logged out. And we'll check things out. All right, let's load the front end of my site. And there we are. The site is currently in maintenance mode. Check back soon. So that's all it takes to make your own maintenance mode plugin without the setup wizard, the ads, the upsells, and everything else with just a few simple lines of PHP, some HTML, and some CSS. I hope you learned a little bit more about WordPress. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.